So the second challenge I'm going to be covering is engagement, and obviously the lack of engagement or the drop in engagement we've noticed over the last few years, and what we think has been causing that. So first we have communication gaps, and when we say this, what we mean is an issue with the channels that we use, in that we have now a younger demographic, younger target audience who all want to be using the latest channels to engage, and as businesses we can sometimes be a little bit behind the curve on that. So the gap we know is there, we're just struggling to address it, especially, and I'll come to the third point, when there can be a bit of internal politics in how we can sometimes get on those new channels and start using them. Limited outreach and awareness. So we're seeing public services or public organisations offering more services than ever before, but not everybody's aware of that. So the lack of awareness is down to sometimes the lack of signposting or being as public or shouting about the things that you offer and the services you provide. So people obviously aren't getting in touch about them because sometimes they don't know they exist. The resistance to change and innovation is hopefully something nobody in this room has to deal with, but we notice it a lot more with public sector than we do with our private sector customers, is that sometimes people don't want to try the new things. Whether it's a new technology or a new process, there can be resistance or be very hesitant to push the boat out and try something new, which then has an impact in that communication gap, because organisations might not want to try using a new channel, might not want to try using TikTok, or unsure how to use that channel. And they kind of tie themselves together. And then lastly, the lack of trust and credibility. So everything I covered in that first session will obviously have an impact on engagement, because if people don't trust you, they won't talk to you. We have a few examples here of engagement issues being faced by the different sectors we work with. So for education, I mentioned TikTok. So their main agenda at the moment is to roll out to the new channels as and when they pop up, but try and keep that messaging consistent across the board. So whatever channel they're publishing content on, whatever channel people are engaging with them on, it's the same tone of voice, it's the same brand presence, and the same messaging there. The central government, I think since I started working at Orlo 7 years ago, it's always been a push in terms of channel shift for digital transformation, get calls down, get digital engagement up. So it's doing that whilst also trying to keep eyes on budgets and all the cost cutting that everybody has to deal with these days. And then for housing, the main, I suppose, target or goal there is around crisis comms. So one, just making sure that the crisis comms they have in place are up to date, but two, making sure everybody who needs access to them has them, so that if anything ever does occur, people can get exactly what they need. They know exactly how to push content out, what to say, when to say it, and obviously what not to do as well. So how do we address the problem? So communication channels, make them more accessible and interactive. Also means make a bit more variety in them as well. So traditionally you'd have email and phone. Obviously over the last few years, last decade, we've brought social in. We now have things like WhatsApp, web chat, live chat. By expanding on these, you can cover more engagement across the board. So if I'm on the phone, obviously I'm kind of tied up then for 5-10 minutes, but one of my colleagues who might be doing social or live chat can handle several messages and conversations at once. And the tone of voice can be a bit different as well, depending on the network and the channel. So it's about using that to its fullest extent and getting the benefit from the different, I suppose, response time expectations people have. Transparency in decision making. So obviously really big on transparency. If I submit my opinion to you and you ignore me, that's fine. But if you ignore me and I don't get any feedback as to why, or if I give you my opinion and you've gone the other way with it and I get no feedback as to why, you're not going to get my opinion in the future. Because again, from that lack of trust, I feel like you don't value my opinion. Even if you don't agree with it, that's absolutely fine. I'm known for having poor opinions in some cases. But at least tell me that and close the loop so I can feel a bit more comfortable moving forward and talking to you again in the future. Encourage collaboration with citizens on problem solving, so get people involved. There's nothing more beneficial, I think, to driving up engagement is to look to the public like you actually talk to people. So when I'm personally looking for support, I won't go near a phone, but I'll look on social, I'll look on a website, And one of the first places I look is probably Twitter, and I'll look at the replies. If I see an organisation replying to people, I'll engage with them on that channel, because I know they talk to people, they respond, they're reading those messages. And you can have the conversations in public then, and my question and the answer I receive might help other people as well. So just encourage that conversation. And then using all the data you have, regardless of what systems you use, if you use the native channels and you're exporting it all from there, you use Orlo or something like that, there's so much valuable insight within all of that data. It's making sure that you're using it to its best potential. So yeah, how Orlo can help. Mentioned it before, but the insights module, you can talk to people and report on exactly the main issues they're facing, what's causing the most problems, I suppose, with your organisation and the services you're providing. You can also do it the other way as well, so it's not all about the doom and gloom. You can focus in on the positive news stories, promote those, make sure people are aware of the good things you're doing as an organisation, not just the bad. Expectations are evolving, so whether it's the people we're talking to or the staff that you're hiring or looking to hire or looking to retain, everybody wants to use the latest tech. Nobody really wants to be bogged down in 10, 20, 30-year-old technology. So it's giving them access to that through all of the channels they have, WhatsApp, SMS, live chat, the social channels, Nextdoor, which we might have seen some comms go out around the other day. So I think because we work with so many public sector organisations, we've got quite a good relationship with Nextdoor. And they have been very slow with their API, but I think we're the first social media management platform globally to integrate with that. So that's another channel now that people can get access to publish on. So it's just providing people with more and more options to engage where they want to engage. And yeah, involving them in that decision making. And I always talk about it, but the main thing, close that loop. Like, make sure that the conversation's been had, sign it off. Make sure, even if it's just thank you for your input, we can't do this, or thank you for your input, we'll look in the future. It will make people feel so much better to know that it's not just talking into the void and there's actually somebody on the other end.